You are now entering the lane.
Welcome back, everyone. This week, we talk all about the new League of Legends preseason information that was posted over on the blog. We discuss Activision Blizzard's new eSports division coming soon, and we introduce our new November Moba challenge. All this and more on episode 67 of the Lane Podcast.
Triple kill.
Extra kill for Hootie.
Pentakill. Dominating.
The Lane Podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lane Podcast. I am Jake Williams, joined by my fellow Mobros once again to talk some MOBAs this week. Brad Stark, Brad Chmielewski, guys, what's up?
What's up?
What's up, man?
I think, I gotta be honest, I think I read that backwards for a second, like the way that I usually introduce you, and I almost forgot your names.
Oh,
Wow.
no.
It's like I didn't
We
even
have
see
the
you
same
last
name.
week.
We have the same name. So, yeah, how do you mess that up?
I
That's
forgot
pretty bad.
a little bit in the middle there. How you guys doing?
Pretty solid.
Yeah, feeling good. Regular.
Regular.
From regular?
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like in general, work for all of us is toning down a little bit to the point where we can actually jump into more of these MOBAs rather than just watch the crazy amount of esports that's happening in general.
For real. Like, we got so much esports and BlizzCon's coming up, so it's a good time to be ramping down with work.
Right. And by coming up, you mean next week.
Yeah.
BlizzCon's next week.
Yeah. Wanted to mention at the top of the show for you guys who are listening to the show, of course, we typically record on Thursdays. That you probably knew. And then we try to push the show out as early as we can on Friday mornings for you to have, going into your weekend, some awesome MOBA knowledge, all that good stuff. But because all three of us are going to BlizzCon next week and leaving on Thursday for the trip, we're going to do the show a little bit earlier.
Okay.
So we're going to try to record Tuesday of next week, which I believe will be the 3rd, and put the show out the 4th Wednesday, so you'll get it 2 days early. You'll have all your MOBA stuff that you could ever want. And then we're going to try to maybe push out a show while we're gone there. It'll be a little more off the cuff, a little less organized, but just something to kind of give you our thoughts on what we hear from probably primarily heroes.
It'll
It's
probably
just,
be heroes heavy stuff.
Yeah, and we'll try to find pictures with Sneaky and Dyrus or
Anyone
whoever
to
else is in
see.
California
So we'll
that
bring
wants to
probably
come.
the camera, one of our microphones, and just, all huddle up
Yeah.
in the hotel
We could
room.
probably just do the selfie stick thing with someone's phone and have a good...
Yeah.
Oh, we
Who-
could. We
does
need a
someone-
selfie
Do
stick?
you have a selfie stick?
Dang it, we need
We
to
should have got a selfie
stick.
stick for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we should also mention people
The
at
merch
BlizzCon.
booth. Maybe they got one.
At BlizzCon, we have some swag.
We got some swag.
We ordered some coasters, which is awesome because we're probably going to be drinking most of the time that we're there.
Yep.
Yep.
But I think having some coasters is going to be a real fun way to be like, hey, man,
Here you go.
Alright, so if you see us,
We'll sign it for you, too.
we'll sign it. Yeah. If you
we
s-
didn't order Sharpies.
Yeah, I got some. Don't worry.
Bring
If-
your own Sharpie.
If you're gonna be at BlizzCon and you happen to see us, go ahead and come up to us, and we'll give you a coaster, and we'll all sign it, and
and then we'll punch you.
call you dick bag.
You guys can talk to me. Maybe don't talk to the Brads. But just an
I called top.
That's just an update for everybody. We'll be doing the show early, 2 days early next week, so you should get it on the 4th, which is Wednesday. But let's just jump right into what we've been playing.
What we've been playing.
So this weekend, what we've been playing, I'm going to start. Is that okay? If you guys
All
mind
right,
if I
go
start?
ahead, man.
It's actually been probably like 3 or 4 days since I feel like I'm the weekend warrior lately. That's when I have my time to block out
Makes
some
sense,
stuff.
yeah.
I continued the climb in Heroes because I mentioned, I think a couple weeks ago, I was rank 4.
Yep.
So I needed to continue. I'm rank 3 now.
Ooh.
I think I went up and down a game in rank 3. It seems like it's only 3 games per rank for me.
That's good.
If I
though.
keep earning 100.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, that's not bad.
But you
And-
gotta win 3 in a row.
You do get a win, but I feel like I don't lose 100 every time. I think depending on your MMR, I could lose like 200 or something crazy, but I feel like more often than not,
You're winning.
I'm winning, which is good. I think I'm just playing with a level head. I don't have any music going on. I don't have streams going on. I'm just focused on the game. I'm typically damage and range damage, so I just got to position correctly, and I
Okay.
should be fine at that point.
So our talk, a few episodes ago, like a month ago, about just play rank, man, like really rubbed off, huh?
Yeah.
For sure. I think the games are more competitive, and they're fine. You do run into less toxic people, but there are people who even like slam you that are like, ugh, rank 3 pleb. And I'm like, dude, you're only rank too. Like we're the
You're
same.
literally 3 games away from me.
There's
Yeah.
like 100 people probably up here.
Yeah,
That's-
like your MMR and mine are like points away. It doesn't matter at this point. But I got stuck in a game this past week with Uther, and I don't like healing. And it was one of those like I was 4th in the pick, and nobody was speaking up, right? And then like near the end, the guy's like, "Oh, I got Malfurion. I'll play him." And they pick him, and he's like, "Oh, I only have Tyrande. Can you heal Fizzban?" And I was like, a big sigh in chat. I was like, "Fine, I'll do it." I had a really good game, and I don't consider myself a good Uther at all.
Okay.
Did you win it?
Yeah, we won it, but we also we had a really good Kerrigan who was awesome on just melee attacks, and with someone like Kerrigan who wants to dive in, do a bunch of damage, and not die.
Yeah.
Uther's shield on her is crazy. Like it's a stupid good
Uther
combo.
do the dwarf toss? Is that him?
No, that's the other dwarf.
that's the
Or
other
well, he's not even a
Muradin.
dwarf. Yeah,
That's
Muradin.
Muradin.
Okay.
yeah, Muradin. Yeah, no, Uther's the Healy boring guy. Is kind of how we describe
he's
him.
not a
Is he the
dwarf.
one
No,
that-
he's a human.
He's not a dwarf.
Is he the one that dies and he still has lots
You
of
could still
health?
heal and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
so
a paladin type,
Yeah.
like dude, right? But
Yeah.
not like paladin from Diablo, but paladin from World of Warcraft.
and like I remember when you played him, we were trying to get you on different healers a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, and like your job was just run up and stun people, like kill this guy right here, right here.
Guys, over here, got him stunned.
So he's fun, but I don't have nearly as much fun, man. Like capturing somebody in a Malfurion, nice like entangling roots, just feels so good.
Yeah,
Just like fight my little tree that I summoned, what I shouldn't have, because that's a bad
Sure.
talent, So did a lot of that, and then I played a bunch of quick match when I did have time during the week because I just I should be playing ranked, as you said, but I just like when I don't want to think about it and I just want to play murky or something stupid.
Yeah,
That's what I
okay.
do. I've noticed a lot more people queuing random. Like every single game on either team, I have 1 or 2 people who are just queuing random hero. I don't know why that would be.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I would
In-
never do it.
In quick match, though.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like
guess.
my impression is that like maybe they're just bored and there's 40 people, and at this point the pool is big enough that you can probably be decent at everybody anyway, and so they don't care.
Yeah,
Right. The other thing I've heard is that a lot of people, I think there's a thread going around on Heroes Reddit last week, was like, actually the games are balancing the teams better if you just pick random. It'll be like, oh, warrior to warrior, oh, support to support.
So it'll fill in that role a little better. Okay. That's not
Maybe.
bad.
I haven't experimented because I haven't been. We should get a group of 3 together and do it and see what happens.
bad idea if I get random, dude. Like,
Well,
what? Kerrigan?
It's
What am I?
kinda yeah. It's like when our buddies started playing and they random, and it's like, oh, he got Nova, and we're like, oh, this is over.
That's
Yeah.
like,
This isn't gonna
yeah.
happen.
When you first start playing, don't hit
yeah.
random.
First
Yeah.
couple games that you have in your Nova.
Play the same champion like 5 times in a row. Get
Right.
used to them.
That's why my top played champions are like over hundreds of games with 2 people, and everyone else is like maybe a couple games. Yeah, like, I'm good at 2. And then I did jump into some League of Legends because they had the One for All mode, which we kind of skipped over. I think we maybe mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but we haven't been as excited for game modes in a long time in League of Legends.
Same.
Because right now they are recycling, and there's
Yeah,
only some
yeah.
that we love and
It's
some that we
it's
don't.
not new. Yeah,
It's not Doombots or anything,
they never brought that back.
No, maybe it's about time.
That wasn't that fun, really.
It was all right. It was interesting.
Like you just got killed a lot. It was
They
funny.
should really just have that in there. Like you should be able to queue
With
the
Doom
box.
bots.
do a funny thing, yeah. But I queued into One for All, mainly on the back of a YouTube video. I saw somebody do 5 zillions, where like
No one ever dies.
as long as you play like against a melee person who can't stun you or something, by the end of the game you all have infinite 99% slow, and you can always hit your bombs because he's stuck there, right?
Okay.
I don't remember who we played against now, but whoever it was, we basically got hard countered. Like we couldn't do anything against it. Oh, it was Olaf, who can't be slowed or
Yeah.
stunned with his ultimate.
Yep,
So we were
there you
just a
go.
bunch of zillions with Olaf like running at us, throwing axes and just punching us, and we're like, well, this is stupid. So we forfeited. The second game I played, everybody went Vigar, which I thought was going to be hilarious. Yeah, we kind of got countered again. We played against Pantheon, who could just jump on us, stun us, free, like crit, Q us, and also block one of our abilities, right? Like, not a good experience.
Okay,
I should have. The sample size is 2, right? I
Yeah.
can't. I can't be that
But
mad.
there's 2 more than I played of that mode.
I think when it comes to All for One, the ones you think that are going to be OP generally aren't that OP, and then the ones you're like, oh well, this shouldn't be R.
Sure.
like 5 hacker rooms, right?
I was starting to think that the way to go is like find a champion who's like pretty good AP or AD or tank, like has variability. Like Vigar's got one build, right? But even Lulu, you could do like machine gun Lulu on a couple people and be fine.
You know what would be super frustrating is 5 echoes because you're not sure who's like
Who's little?
Ghost?
yeah,
is
whose
where.
ghost is whose, and you're just like,
Yeah.
ah.
Go tank.
Yeah.
You could do a pretty mixed build there.
Yeah.
I should give it another try, but and then I did a regular game, and of course everybody called every role except jungle, and I just accepted it. I played Vi. I got the mid and top laners ahead, fine, and then the Ashe on the other team bot lane was like fed. She was like 10-3 by I don't know what time, but she was killing everybody. And by the end of the game, our bot lane was just yelling at me for like gank more, and I'm like, that's kind of not my fault. You lost lane.
Yeah, and it's also don't waste your time on a losing lane, right?
I'm not in the wrong there, right? Like,
No.
I got my other 2 lanes
The
ahead.
damage has been done. That
Yeah.
Ashe is 10 and whatever, right? Whatever she is, if she keeps killing these people, she's not getting that much gold anymore. Like the damage is done. She's fed. Now what you need to do is put pressure elsewhere on the map, so when someone else on your team can get to that point where they can handle that Ashe.
I feel like I could help my Pantheon whenever I needed to, and then I cannot remember who my mid laner was, but they were up against Diana, who was fairly easy for me to gank as Vi anytime I wanted to.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was just, I think my timing's still off because that's not a role I play, but I just went into it like not expecting anything. It was just a normal. But of course, by the end of the game, the natural reaction of people is to blame someone else for why they did so poorly.
Right.
I will say that bot lane also had, our bot lane had a Twisted Fate support, and I want to be like, that's probably why you lost. I don't know why people are playing that right now, but
Right.
I don't.
Stun card.
You even asked Hanjaro on his stream because we were in there, and he went up against a Twisted Fate support, and you're like, what's up with that? He's like, there's people that like to play Twisted Fate. They just play it.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
a
It's
not
one
a
of those things
thing.
like if you're good, you just play that character. But in our elo, come on, how good can somebody really be with one person? They're not Debox or like, what's his name? Box with Ribbon or something, right?
I
What
don't
other
know.
box person?
The other box
Mr.
guy.
Box.
Mr.
So many,
Box.
so many
Sir Box.
boxes.
Yeah.
Sir Box a lot.
Prince
Sir
Box a lot.
Box.
And then I tried a couple ARAMs, guys, and I gotta say, my feed of my League of Legends right now is red. It is all red. There is not a single win on, I think, page 1 of any site you would go to. It's such a drag. But because of that, I only play a couple games at a time and then come back a few days later.
Okay.
I can't like push past it and be like, I do want to win, because I just assume I'm going to lose at some point. But that was my week. I tried to get into a bunch of stuff as much as I could. And yeah, how about you guys? Whoever wants to go. Anyone next?
Well, I tried to play a game of League. I went in there. I logged in.
How come you guys don't tell me when you decide to play League? Like, I didn't know you guys did that.
You're
this week.
always on.
You were
Yeah.
you were on. I think you were either in Champion Select or
Okay.
something. And I was like, well, he doesn't want to play with me because I'm not.
And actually, the night I did these league games, I think you were at a wedding.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think you were on that night.
Yep.
So I went and I did an ARAM. I don't even remember who I got, but then somebody was taking a really long time to connect. And it was like good 2 minutes. And I was like, well, this has probably already started, and I got kicked out of this at this point. So then I quit the game and tried to go back in, and it wouldn't let me back in. It was like a nonstop, like, hey, your internet connection is down.
Weird.
Try to connect again. So then I was like, screw this. I quit the
Nope,
game.
just
Like,
not gonna
I was
do
like-
it.
I basically just AFK'd on this game that I don't know if it ever loaded. Maybe it never loaded. Maybe it got stuck somehow.
Maybe you got DDoSed or something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But it was just a weird thing that I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I know I have issues logging into League sometimes because I'm running a VPN now, and League doesn't like that.
Gotcha.
So you have to turn that off. So
You would say not a very good game experience.
not a very good experience.
didn't-
Sorry, AFK'd to my team.
Well,
out
you're
there.
you're even. You didn't win or lose any of your games this week. so-
Right.
I think that counts as a lot. Or is it like a Pandora's box? You should re-log in.
No,
or not like a
see
no,
what
it's not a Pandora's box.
No.
A Schrodinger's cat situation.
It's Schrodinger's
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah,
You may or may
yeah.
not have lost.
Yeah, you may or may not have lost.
You should
and
just start a
don't-
new account.
You don't know. Yeah.
30 years from now, log in.
Yes, I'm never gonna check that.
Yeah, never gonna check. You'll never know.
South America account, here I come.
Latin America count. Yeah, it's
I feel like
nice.
we're level like 4 or 5. We probably got the basic rotation
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Get some games in.
I can't remember my
That's
password.
probably about my skill level in League at this point. I
No,
should just go in there.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
I don't know. A lot of the MOBA stuff carries over from
Yeah.
game to
Yeah.
game. you know?
So I was just really disappointed. I was like, all right, I'm going to do ARAM. This will be fine. And then I was just mad that the stupid client sucks so much.
Still Adobe Air. And
That-
it's still, like, they always say, like, we know everyone hates the client, but we've been working on it, and teams take different lengths of time to finish things, and
Okay.
it's not the only thing. But, like, it's been, like, years now, guys, since you said you were working on the client.
Yeah, this is year 6 of your game.
It's year 6 of your game, and at least 2 years since I think they said they started work on a new one.
I could have sworn, there was a news item we even covered. It was
Yeah.
like, they said they're working on it.
It's been almost like 2 years, and
Yeah.
it's just like, what else? You know, come on, guys.
Yeah.
At what point?
This it's trash. It's junk. It's unusable. Almost.
It's all of Double Lift's opponents.
yeah,
is what it is.
yeah. Or double lift at Worlds.
Aw.
Oh, man. So, yeah, my league experience did not go well. Probably need to get some heroes practice in this weekend before we get to BlizzCon so I don't
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
show up just like, what do I do, guys?
Well,
I
we're all
actu-
going to be together on Saturday.
Because
so.
I realized watching the Heroes tournament we'll get into in the news, I have not played on the Eternal Shrines.
I think there's
map.
2 maps that you have not played.
Yeah, you've
That are
got
brand
both
new.
the new Diablo ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I've not played on those. I was like, I don't even know how this map works.
Right. There's Battlefield of Eternity and Infernal Shrines.
You know what I was thinking? I wish that there's no StarCraft maps.
Not
maybe,
yet.
No, yeah, maybe we'll see that here with the launch of the game.
I almost guarantee you can
announcement.
I'll call it here. We for sure see heroes.
Yeah.
Last year
Yep.
was 3 heroes, and I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe another StarCraft in conjunction with the Legacy of the Void coming out. Probably a Warcraft character just because it is their bread and butter. They want to get as many of them they can
Right.
in there, especially getting people hyped for the next WoW expansion. And you're probably going to see a throwback like the Blackthorn character from their old games. Like I feel like Lost Vikings was such a hit
Yeah.
just because it called back to so many other games.
So Rad Racer?
We
Maybe
all
a Rad
we all
Racer
want to see a
mount.
rock and roll racer. That would be awesome. I
Yeah.
would spend so much money on that.
So I'll probably get some practice in some heroes this weekend. And then in Call of Champions, I saw that you could get a Season 0 badge for 100 wins in ranked. And I thought this was just 100 games in ranked. I was like, I can do this. I'm at 80.
Okay.
But it's 100 wins. And then I was like, I have 40 wins.
Wow, that's tough. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like I'm only winning like 50% of the games.
And how long is this season?
So it ends on this end of this month.
Oh, then yeah.
So I was like, once I realized that, like, oh shit, I have 4 days now to play. Basically, I have to win 50 games. So I have to play 100 games. I was like, that's not happening, because then last night I tried to play a ranked game. It took me 30 minutes. I played one 5-minute game just because of the queue
The queue
times.
time.
There's
Oh,
not
okay.
enough people at like
I
late
wonder-
at night.
I wonder how many people will have that
People that only were playing that game.
Only that, only stream. Yeah.
Well,
that
it's
kind
not
of
even. It's sitting there waiting. Like I was trying to stream it too, and you're sitting there waiting for people to queue, and it's like League
It's hard
for
to-
the challenger people. It's like if you don't get in that queue when the game ends or starts, you have to wait the 5 minutes and then hope you got in it. And
Right.
so it kind of sucked.
You know what they got to do for these MOBAs is a system we noticed in Overwatch because the beta came out this past week. When you're in queue, they just throw you into a skirmish for like killing time. When you're in the
Okay.
queue, you just with a bunch of other people also queued. I guess skill level can be all over the place. They're not really keeping score.
There's no objective. It's just like
Just
here's the
Just
map.
play
Just
around while we
deathmatch.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then when your queue pops, you can leave the game. I assume maybe you probably just get pulled automatically out of it. But that's a pretty decent idea for. I know MOBAs. There's like some setup, right?
Yeah.
There's like in League, there's 10 minutes before something really cool happens.
Just put everyone in like an ARAM, right?
yeah,
why
like
not?
a full build ARAM. Like
Yeah.
here's like auto build ARAM kind
Yeah.
of thing. That'd be kind of cool. So kind of bummed about my no badge I'm gonna get now. But I did pick up Jack in that game. We talked about him last week. He's not that great.
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
He looks cool.
It's flavor of the month, quite literally.
Yeah, because he's Jack
Pumpkin flavored. He's pumpkin spice champion.
And then in Vainglory, the meta has completely stalled out. We'll have a patch, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, so maybe just in
What do
time.
you mean by stalled out?
So everyone has decided these are the 6 champions you're allowed to play.
Okay.
Or really only 4 champions. You either have Scarf or Celeste in lane, you have Catherine in the jungle, and then you have Jewel or Glaive in the jungle. That's it. That's
Okay.
all appropriate comp to be played.
Like
those,
high elo players have deemed these the best, the tier
yeah,
one.
those are the best. You can bounce around a little
so
bit.
if you
but
get
that's-
3 of them on your team and they don't get them, then
you're already like, all right, that's probably good.
interesting.
But you're just going up against mirror matches like almost
Yeah.
every game now.
I feel like that's bound to happen with the shallow pool that there is right now. Once it even gets to like 30, right? Then you have these interesting other combos that are just as strong or maybe counter those strategies, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have people as good as they are right now, and it's like, well, everyone can pick glaive and flip over and knock this guy into this person who gets burned by this person
Right.
pretty easily. So that's the combo. Yeah.
And then, but I did hit hotness silver for a couple days there, and then I lost it. So moving up, so that's good. I feel good about that.
Gotta get back to
Get back to
POA.
yeah, I didn't even get the badge last season, so just gotta get into Simply Amazing, and I'll be happy. But yeah, that's been my week of, I guess, a lot of trying to play and just like, all right,
And
this
finding
is,
no time.
yeah.
Well, I have not. I it's a continuation of the past few weeks where I have completely shut down Heroes and Vainglory. I'm not playing them at all right now
Okay.
because I'm trying to get that gold. You know, so if I'm playing a MOBA,
The league, the rank goal, not
Yeah.
just money goal,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just
I'm
like I'm trying to get paid here.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm trying to
working
get-
my ass off.
I'm trying to get the gold. Yeah. So if I'm not playing Halo 5, I'm playing League of Legends. And I'm exactly where I was last week.
That's not where you wanted to be.
No.
So at some point then, were you silver 2, 1?
I'm silver 2 in my promos with I've won a game and lost a game. Exactly
So
like
right after
last
we
week.
record, you could be really happy or not.
Yeah, who knows? If you see me tweeting a lot tomorrow, things went well. If I'm not tweeting,
Right.
probably less.
Are you still duoing as well?
Yeah.
As much as you can.
Right. So what I've been just doing is my general plan has been to get to like near my promos
Yeah.
on my own and then call in a buddy, to
do
help
the
me.
promos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then at least there's one person that I can trust on the team.
Sure.
It's just how it is. But so I'm exactly in the same place.
Dang.
Yep. It's a
But
lot-
I've noticed that like your focus on it though helps clearly.
Yeah.
Like you probably wouldn't have been this far had
No.
you decided to jump over
No.
and play some Vainglory
When-
or play some.
Right. When I started, I was silver 4, and now I'm
Right.
like in the middle of my promos to get into silver 1. So I'm really close, but the amount of time left is, if I lose another promo, I'm probably not going to make it
just
because
based on time,
'Cause
you'd
you're
have to
gone.
spend like all day.
right
we're gone
because
4
we're
days.
gone for 4 days, and so I think I've got maybe 10 days left.
Should buy a laptop.
No,
Then
I'm
those
not,
4
I'm
days
not,
don't
I'm
mean
not,
anything.
I'm not playing at BlizzCon. No.
Just quit out of Heroes and install
Right.
See, I don't
League
know.
on the machine.
I'm the kind of idiot who like last year would skip a party so I could go back to my hotel and keep playing Heroes. Like that's just
Right.
what I wanted to do. But
But I'm not just playing ranked games because, if you're doing bad, it's a good to stop, or, if I'm waiting for someone to duo with, or
Yeah.
maybe there's just a lot of people that want to play with people.
you're just playing some Dominion
Yeah.
whenever you get a chance.
I'm not playing Dominion. So I've just been
Once
doing
a year,
some
Dominion
normals,
talk.
but I've been doing a lot of top lane
Oh, nice.
in the normals.
Okay.
And I've been playing Mundo.
Nice.
Oh, is he back?
He's back. Mundo's back. He kind of got secretly buffed a patch or so ago, where now his E ability, it used to be just increased damage on your next auto.
Yeah.
Now it's an auto interrupter, so you can auto E auto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's back, man. He's a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, when I play Mundo, even if I don't win, I feel good about it because when I look at the stats after game, I'm generally first or second most damage.
That's funny.
On a Mundo, on
For
a
a
tank.
dude who's like, well, your job is to like run in their face and be
Yeah.
really annoying.
Right.
And so hopefully you just don't die a lot.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah.
So Mundo's a lot of fun. I got that pool party Mundo skin.
Dope.
That's I'm
was
chucking
great, yeah.
ukuleles at
Wait,
people.
weren't we supposed to all get that for free?
We didn't make it that far.
didn't make
we
it.
knew we were
Yeah.
gonna.
Because we didn't play the game enough
Yeah.
with friends.
Because
to
you
get-
guys didn't play the game enough.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys have been playing.
It was
so.
that was us. It was
Yeah,
us.
it
our
was
fault.
our
that
fault.
the-
It was
that
your
the
fault.
27
I
million
did
people
my
didn't
share.
get that skin.
I did my share. So yeah, Mundo, and that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Nice. We'll have to get some Heroes games in for sure. Before we go, so that we're ready with some fun strategies or things to goof off
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
But then again, we're gonna get paired up at BlizzCon with it could just be a random guy who just likes Thrall or something.
Sure. We should work on the Johanna Asmodean.
That I don't know. I think there's funnier combos. Like we should come up with.
Well, they're gonna have new people,
Oh.
so you know.
Will be new people.
The Tacitor, we got to do the Tacitor Octograb. Or not Tacitor, Artanis Octograb
Yeah, I
thing.
still haven't even picked him up.
No.
The one I saw working in the tournament yesterday that was
We'll
really
probably
fun
want to play the new people.
was ETC's Mosh Pit,
Mhm.
and then Vala actually goes the Rain of Vengeance that stuns down these rain of like whatever Shadow Hawks or something that
Yeah.
stun them. So you also guarantee that you always hit that stun as long as you get a good Mosh Pit. Like I don't know, Mosh Pit plus
anything.
anything is
A
hilarious.
murky bubble in.
Murky bubble. Yeah, we're probably gonna play the new people, but I remember even last year picking Lost Vikings, the first game we got to play. I don't know if I think you tried Jaina first
Yeah.
or something, and I died 33 times. I was like, what? I don't.
You don't know what to
I
do.
can't. I think
Yeah.
they've since changed their control scheme and made them easier and whatever. But
But
like,
there'll be new skins too. We end up trying. Like, oh, I want to see what
Yeah.
this one looks like.
yeah, dude, it's gonna be awesome. So that's it for what we've been playing. Let's jump into a reminder of our monthly MOBA challenge. A reminder of our monthly MOBA challenge, but it's less of a reminder and more of like, hey, by the way, October's over.
Hey, it's time to change it.
Closing.
It's
And
over.
a new one.
It's closing.
new one.
For October, you guys sent us your screenshots. We also posted some of our own over on our Twitter account at The Lane Podcast of the Iron Man Challenge, us trying to do screenshots of no death games. Of course, we also added the caveat that would be awesome if you could do it multiple times in a row. So
Yeah.
you looked like your crazy KDA over the last like couple of games was 100 something, or
I
you know,
don't think I
70.
pulled that off.
I didn't pull it off at all.
I don't think I got close. And there were even games when I thought to myself the next game, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go for game number 2, and then I died 9 times or something. You know, something.
I am
terrible.
not good at this game.
I
Right.
did have a lot of no death games on tanks.
Mhm.
I did have one great 12-0 on Scarf. That was pretty solid.
That's
There
when you
you
know
go.
it's good when you
Yeah.
do it like on a carry,
Yeah.
right? But it was a fun challenge for us for sure. It was definitely tough, and we love seeing people send in screenshots or even almost screenshots sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you had a Blitzcrank game the other day.
Yeah, one death. Almost did it. I was
Like I said,
angry.
man, if you would put Flash on F where it belongs, you probably wouldn't have died.
No, Flash is on D, man. It's the closest to my where my fingers are, so I can.
D stands for don't put Flash here.
No,
Oh.
D stands for it doesn't matter.
F stands for
Honestly.
FU. So anyway, so that was our challenge for October. We thank everybody who sent in their screenshots and even helped us with the idea. That was a lot of fun trying that out. Kind of not the complete opposite for November, but we were having fun watching some of the games from Heroes and also from League this past week. And some games end really quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a win condition, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get that win condition very quickly, and
Right.
then you win.
So-
So don't drag it out.
And also just sort of in the
Because
vein of like,
Because some people have problems closing out games too.
Right.
You know,
That's
like
true.
People let their games just drag on and on,
Right.
and
Bad-
on when they
bad at
should have
that.
won like 20 minutes ago.
and like it can be hard to, if it's a new game or a new hero or champion, like that you might not just know the limitations of like, am I a late game person? Am I not? When
Yeah.
should I be like really flexing my muscle as this person? So anyway, in the vein of speedrunning in the speedrun community, we wanted to do some MOBA speedruns this month. And we want to see screenshots of your fastest victories.
No bots.
No bots.
No bots, because, you know, we can do those in 7 minutes.
Legit games.
No
Yeah.
AFKers on either side.
Right.
Right. And why don't we just do fastest losses? Isn't that easier?
No. Because why you want to lose?
You could lose on purpose.
Yeah. You shouldn't be losing.
Maybe
I'm
maybe next month we'll do longest game. I want to see people's like.
Ugh, I don't want to see that.
No, yeah, record it, and then we have to watch your
Yeah.
longest game.
Yeah.
But we want to see screenshots of your fastest victories. I know, for instance, in Heroes that some of the Haunted Minds games can go sub 10 minutes, sometimes
yeah.
sub 7 minutes if you get a really
Yeah.
good team fight and stuff. But and I know even League games can go quick. Like you can finish before surrender. So we'd love to
That's
see
I
that.
think that's what we're going to be looking for for as far as people sending us league stuff is
Yeah.
doing it before the other team can even surrender.
Right.
You destroyed them so thoroughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to see, let us know and send in your screenshots because we loved getting those last month of some of your fastest victories. Let's do it for this month. I don't want to see your fastest victory ever that was last year.
Yeah. No.
You know,
That you do this month.
season 4, the map was smaller. I mean, it's just like, no.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just kidding. It was not. Of
there
course.
weren't like 8 tanks.
Right.
Everybody didn't have teleport.
So for our monthly MOBA challenge, we're doing the MOBA speed run. We want to see screenshots of your fastest victories. And with that, we're going to jump into this week's news.
This is the news.
Yeah, hey man.
What?
Hey. For this whole month that we're doing this speed challenge, I don't want you to call me Stark anymore.
Okay.
I want you to call me Usain Bolt of the Storm.
Usain?
Usain, not Usain.
That's what I said. I said Usain Bolt of the Storm.
All right, we'll see how many people tweet us saying Usain Bolt of the Storm screenshots instead of MOBA speed runs. All right, let's really get into the news. That was I'm glad you had to get that in there for sure. We're going to start a little news about the League of Legends preseason. Now, this was brought to my attention by the lovely Brads here. I think you both probably shared it with me at one point. There was a pretty big blog post talking about it's the what we have coming down the pike for the preseason.
You know, the season's about to end, yo.
What's this all about, guys?
Well, last year we had the new map,
Yep. New map and then the new jungle changes.
which we were, I guess teased for, or like given a little bit beforehand.
Right.
So we kind of knew jungle was changing.
Right.
But this time, they're adding a bunch of new stuff or changing things up.
Yep. A lot of changes where there's things like no more green wards,
Like at all, you can't buy solo.
no solo green wards,
Okay.
but there will still be a sight stone and there will still be trinket wards.
Yellow trinkets. They want people to get used to using the blue trinkets more, they said.
Right.
As like,
Far distance kind of stuff. Like, is anyone there right now?
And
Nope.
those place a one hit ward too.
When
they're
they're
upgraded.
upgraded,
But the upgrades are going to be free now.
Okay.
No more
so
250
still
gold.
level 9.
Yeah.
So you just does it auto upgrade? It's better.
They should.
Nah,
They
it
should.
It better just auto.
But
upgrade.
I don't know. Maybe you'll have to go back and
Pick it.
get it.
But that's interesting that those two reasonings are tied together. That they're like, no green wards. We want people to use the blue thing.
Right.
Like with
because
that,
because I think one of the problems with wards and the reason people don't ward as much as they should is because it takes money away from them purchasing their full items.
Sure.
So you're like I have enough for an Infinity Edge, but I should really grab a couple.
but I bought 2 wards like a second
Right.
ago, and now I can't. It's like they're looking at it as a way to maybe speed up the game, like get you to your items faster. To
They
get to those
like
fights
they
faster.
like the vision play in the game and want to see more of it.
Mm.
I guess.
Right.
But they're also going to stay. Like I don't see, based on this blog post, the double sightstone going away. It's just kind of become commonplace that the jungler gets one and the support gets one.
Probably see
The
more
whole
of that.
sightstone thing is changing too.
Oh, okay.
So they haven't revealed exactly what they're gonna do, but there seems to be an indication that jungle items might have sightstone built into them.
Okay.
Or that support item one of the support items might turn into a sightstone.
Interesting.
So where it's not a separate item, or it's more of like a varied
Like a dual
branch
thing.
off kind of thing to
Do
get
you want
to,
this kind of sightstone or this kind
right,
of sightstone?
right.
That would make sense. That would make junglers, I think, feel a little less helpless when they have to like. I mean, my one game I jungled this last week, I felt like I need to get a sightstone because it'll just help our information.
Yes.
But it makes me less effective. Makes me a little more tanky.
It gets you some health,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
which is great with when Cinder Hulk was big,
Sure.
but now that Cinder Hulk's been nerfed and they pretty much nerfed the tank jungle meta out of relevance, that people aren't doing it.
But the correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the Feral Flare back in the day have a ward attached to it as
did,
well?
yeah.
Like that was the first them experimenting.
That
with
was that was like the beginning of the whole trinket kind of thing.
Sure.
I think, yeah.
Interesting.
And then we're gonna have a new monster in the Baron Pit pre-Baron.
Right. So for the first 20 minutes of the game, Baron is not in the Baron Pit, right?
Right.
So what this does is, since there is a dragon and there's no Baron, there is less of a reason for the jungler or for really any attention to be paid to the top half of the map, because the jungler needs to be around to keep Baron pressure, and the only reason for a jungler to go top at pre 20 minutes is to help get the top laner rolling, right? To do like a quick gank. But in other words, that jungler is going to probably stick to the bottom half of the map, or at least stay close to the dragon pit. So what this new monster is, and I think they're calling it the Rift Herald,
Yes.
is going to be in the Baron pit until the Baron appears, and then the Baron will
Eat them.
eat him if he's there. I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I think, but it's just supposed to make a consequence for. This is why top laners traditionally have TP, is because there's no one cares what happens to the top lane. It's all about that pressure that's on the bottom with the
Resources at the
dragon
bottom
and the
and the
duo
middle,
lane and all that kind of stuff. So now with this Herald, there is a consequence to everyone being on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah.
You know, so the other team can take this Rift Herald.
Now, it doesn't say exactly what you get for it, correct? But it looks like gold and some sort of buff.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
We'll
like
see.
a mini Baron buff or
I
something.
think they'll probably bounce around with what it is.
But
Yeah.
it's also, and I can't, I mean, these guys are level 7 in this video. It's a Master Yi and a Renekton fighting the Herald. And each of them together can take this thing down. Of course, he is doing quite a bit of damage. But I would be interested to see, like, what if they did a solution and they won't ever do this? Because the game, there will be a lot less randomness in this game ever because there's so much competitive value to it. You don't want the randomness. What if the pits were random? What if it was like sometimes Dragon spawns up here, sometimes Baron spawns down here? Like, and then you would have to make a play there. Like that might
That'd be interesting,
that
yeah.
would change.
Mhm.
But of course, it could suck for one team when you're fighting, and then suddenly, oh, by the way, here's Baron here. You know, I understand the challenges there, but that'd be an interesting, I think, theory.
Also, the map is designed like visually that the Baron belongs in the Baron pit because there's like a desecration of the land around
Right,
him. And
yeah.
True, yeah.
if he's suddenly in the lush green forests of the bottom half of the map,
Right.
it's not, or maybe, I guess that's too dynamic too.
No, sure.
If he were to appear in the bottom, suddenly the bottom half of the map, like this desecration
apart or-
spreads, or
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh crap, the Baron must be down here now.
I mean,
Coming, yeah.
they should just change the walls in the jungle. Like every 10 minutes, the walls like randomly switch to a different place. And you're like, ah, crap! You tried to flash, and then suddenly a wall. Like,
It's like the topiary maze from
Yeah.
The Shining. Yeah.
So we got the Rift Herald. We also have some different starting items it looks like they're working on, along with some sweet icons that they're showing as well.
I don't know what those do.
I don't know what they do either, but I think they're just like, currently we're using Doran's set there. I think they're just trying to make that look a little more interesting.
Masteries are being changed the
sounds
way we
like-
do masteries.
It sounds like hopefully they're simplifying it, because right now, on the whole, I gotta say, especially in I'm not diving into the builds of the players. Like,
No.
and so
but
I think even at the top level,
it's not even
whether
covered.
you picked this mastery or that mastery or this rune or that rune is not that important because it's so small.
It's not even covered by the the esports community. Like okay, cool. Doublelift's playing Vayne. What masteries does he have? Or Xmithy's on Echo. Like, what masteries is he running? That we don't know. We were never told, because it's little tiny ticks, and it's nothing.
Except for Dangerous Game. You know,
That's
they
pretty
could talk about that. Dangerous
Right.
Game's neat, but they could talk about that. Like, oh, he survived because of Dangerous Game.
But I think for an audience, especially, the more this potentially blows up and it's going to be shown to the public, there's so many confusing little elements. Like,
Right.
and we're not saying they're not important. I mean, we complained 10, 20 shows ago when we tried to jungle on our Smurf accounts, and we couldn't because the monsters are so strong.
Yeah.
This game is balanced around the rite of passage of becoming level 30, having all of your masteries, and then suddenly buying into this new system of runes.
But consider if you've never played League of Legends.
Right.
You would never know about runes and masteries.
Sure.
Right? If you just were a fan of watching, like maybe, I've never played football a day in my life.
Right.
But sometimes I like to watch football games. I understand the game of football.
Right. It's not like, oh, there's some special pants that.
Right. Whoa,
these
he's
guys
wearing
wear.
he's wearing special underpants. Like they get different.
They get more
different
defensive
pad
because they have
outfits.
these
Yeah.
underwear on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't
There's
know.
nothing like that. But with League of Legends, you would never know if you didn't play the game about the
Right.
runes and mastery system.
I feel personally in general the system is just a little archaic, and they should just make it a little simpler. You know, whether it's like, I'm cool with 3 buttons. I want to go utility this game, which means I now have a skill that gives me a second passive, which is 5% movement speed for any ally running towards
Right.
me, and then plus 10 for me running there. Or I want an extra 5% damage, or I want an extra 5% health. Like things like that, I think are simple decisions that anybody can pick up and understand.
Yeah.
But
So-
at the same time, like, how do you get rid of this old system? They're not mentioning runes here. They're mentioning masteries.
They're mentoring masteries. I don't
Like-
think runes are being touched right now.
I think because they still make money on runes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that system's going to be hard to get rid of or change.
Right. Well,
You could refund players.
check it out. So
No,
here's
there's no refund.
So instead of little ticks, what it is it's going to be levels, like I think up to 3 levels, and then those level 3 masteries are going to be game changers. Like something you can have where maybe it makes people bleed out.
Sure.
Every time you hit them.
Well, and I already feel like that's what their attempt is with the skill tree already, because they're like, we need to make that bottom one valuable enough
Right.
that you're willing to put 21 of your 30 points into it, you know?
but I think it'll be less.
Sure.
You get less points and you get less benefits,
Sure.
but each benefit will be greater.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. And then I guess some pretty big upcoming marksman itemization changes, as well as marksman changes in general. I think that it seems like last year was the junglers. This year it is now the AD carries, the marksman characters who are going to get changed.
I mean, let's talk about marksman right now. I mean, the way marksmen currently work is it's almost a tier system because they all do the exact same thing. What is a marksman job? To do the most damage as possible from a distance, right? So that turns into a very stale itemization path. There's basically two. There's the Triforce, and then there's the
Lifesteal.
the
Attack
life
speed
steal.
or
Correct.
Yeah, there's three.
Yeah.
There's iEdge, which is most of them. There's the Triforce guys, and then
I
there's
think
the Blade of the Rune
right. Well, I think you can have Blade of the Rune King and iEdge.
You can,
yeah.
but I think there's two. I'm really thinking Twitch Vayne, who
Right.
benefit from Blade of the Rune King first more than any other people.
Well, they're trying to make it
But yeah.
different, and they're trying to make the play style too to be much more different.
Actually, not even until Callisto was there like a different one where someone was like, "Man, Hurricane's great on her." You know?
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
but I think they're changing it. And then also there was a blog, a dev blog comment or a forum comment talking about specific ideas they had in mind for changes to make them less like. Take Caitlyn, for instance, who is mostly auto attack based. You're literally just waiting until you have 4 items and you're not useless anymore. And you're trying to get as many auto attacks as you can off because your other, like 2 of your skills are not damaged. I mean, they do damage, but one is like an escape or a pursuit or slow. And then the other one's just a stun with your trap. The other 2 things are damaged. So really your job is an auto attack bot in the back.
the trap is almost useless.
Right. But they're trying to find ways to make that a little bit more interactive. And some of their ideas sounded a little bit more like mini games to me, which is what they're.
Riot loves their mini games right now.
The Corky thing was interesting.
Yeah,
which had something to do with like every 5 minutes or something.
A super bomb or something appears in
the base. Yeah, and Corky can go get it or pick it up or something. And then the next time he uses W on the map, it's like a massive W is the Valkyrie where you launch away and there's fire underneath you. It's like huge now or something. Or like,
I think it's the phosphorus bomb.
Oh, it's supposed to be the phosphorus bomb?
I think the phosphorus bomb is the thing that's going to be
big.
Oh, like big one. Oh, okay. Well, that either way, whatever it is, it amplifies one of your abilities, which is kind of cool. Like so these things are fun. I guess we'll have to just wait and see. This is the pre-season pre-post.
Yeah,
what's interesting about Corky is it sounds like they're trying to make him an AP marksman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So everything scales off AP on him,
which I think they could use. Think of a game like Vainglory. How many times we ask like,
crystal power or weapon power? What do I go for?
And like for instance, Ringo. Like both are pretty viable. Depends on just what you want to do.
It's fun because then you can itemize for like, oh, my team comp needs this versus
Right. We can't all be crystal power.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just a smart move on Riot in general. That's probably the most stale role in totally right now is the marksman, to look at different ways to make it interesting, because guys, we're all sinking our time into these. We're sinking hundreds of games, some people thousands of games all the time.
I'm sure I would have close. I'm sure I've put close to a month of my life into League of Legends.
Right. Yeah. So you want to know at least like, well, this is the moment where I build Bloodthirster, and this is the moment where I build this. Like, you do want to change. So I do admire them doing this, and I wonder if it's they're looking holistically at the game now and trying to come up with different paths for different groups of people. Eventually, there will be some similarity, some crossover, right? There's this many people. Of course, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we're seeing interesting new kits and new champions, so you got to change it
I
up.
guess conversely to the problem with Vainglory, where there's so few viable champions right now, right? This is the problem is that these are all the same. Like, and really at this point it becomes like, who does it better? Who does this one thing? Who's slightly more powerful right now?
It's like
it's the new guy,
right?
He has everything.
Oh, we both built late game team comps.
Yeah.
So we get Jinx, you get Tristana. We both basically do the same thing. Of course, the kits are a little bit different, and how they achieve that is different. But basically, we're just going to auto attack a lot and each build the same exact things, and to a certain point, right? And we know there are minute details in there, but just on a general level, that's it. So
but this is the preseason, so don't be freaking out. Like some of this stuff may see like a patch and then they're gone. Like, oh, that didn't work out.
Yeah. It's going to be very much like the Juggernaut update.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. They're looking at these group of champions that are not really that different, and it's really just one maybe a little bit stronger than the other. They all have the same role, and it's trying to diversify that and shake that up.
Right. So we have a link in our show notes over at thelamepodcast.com to that preseason patch, I guess, blog post as well over there.
Yeah.
Also for League of Legends, we have a little microsite that was posted called Shadow and Fortune, a harrowing story.
The harrowing.
It's coming.
It's here.
Kind of.
I
Here?
feel like it
No,
was
it's
supposed to
coming.
already happen.
Yeah.
It always happens after Halloween.
Is it?
The
Okay.
problem is that Worlds is happening right now, so they're really focusing on that, and then I think Harrowing's gonna
I
happen.
feel
after
like we
Worlds.
do this all the time, though, where we get excited about harrowing.
And then it
like,
happens later.
It happens later, okay.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's all in the season, right? Just as
Yeah.
long as it's around Halloween. But what this is a microsite, and it talks a little bit about, it leads you to the fall of Gangplank and obviously the Bilgewater, what's happening there. They give us stories of 5 other champions. This is Thresh, Mordekaiser, Callista, Karthus, and Hecarim, who I would assume are all...
They're all Shadow
Shadow
Isles,
Isles people.
champions.
This is them, I think, rewriting bios, right?
Yes.
We talk all about Shurima,
Yep.
and that was, what, last
and,
summer?
and now it's all about Bilgewater.
Yes.
Since
Yeah.
the Bilgewater event, Shurima is old hat, Bilgewater is new hotness.
But I feel like this time of year it will always be Shadow Isles. It is the most thematic resemblance to
Yes,
to
it's
Halloween.
yeah.
Right.
It's the ghost realm, ghost town.
It's the yokai realm, right?
From Yokai Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know Yokai Watch.
I
All
do,
right.
Yeah.
So this is just a microsite that has a little blog post about, or little rather micro stories talking about. This is Thresh. This is what it's all about. Scroll down the picture or the page, and it'll zoom in. I kind of wish there was like a haunting voice that would like read me this text because it is quite dense.
It is dense. It's a lot of stuff to read. I haven't gone through it all.
Right.
Actually.
No, I haven't.
One of the interesting things that I believe has come out of this is so Callista's Bex. Remember, she gets like betrayed by a king. Hecarim.
Hecarim is the king that
Yep.
betrayed her.
Yep.
Wasn't there? Okay, maybe there wasn't. I haven't watched the video in a while. That awesome video from last year when she came out.
Yeah.
That somehow I thought maybe there was some allusion to Hecarim or something like
maybe.
that. But there was the king allusion for sure. But I think this is cool. I think it's cool that they're finally getting back into it. And I would assume the other lore nerds who are out there that wanted this kind of stuff.
I think it's great.
It's amazing, but it's just I think we've talked about before. Like MOBAs are just like a hard. There are people that are here for the story. The dude that played with us at BlizzCon and Heroes played because he likes the story of Thrall, and that's why he played the game, but he might not like the game. Lots of people are just in it for the competition. So it is tough, but I think this is good that you need this out there. You need to build another reason for people to care. You need to hire a writer to write books about the Shadow Isles and like what is Callista doing? How did Callista get to the Summer's Rift or something?
It
You know,
needs
stuff
to
like
make
this.
sense. Like that's the MOBA. There's all these different characters. It needs to make sense who these people are and why there's battling and what the relationships are with these other champions.
Right. So check that out over at thelamepodcast.com. We have a link to that story as well. We're going to jump into Heroes of the Storm news because I have a couple of items from there as well. We have, of course, the Heroes of the Storm World Championship brackets were posted,
Yeah.
Toot toot.
which we had group.
Train whistles.
Yeah, I didn't even bring them in here.
Nah.
We had Group A and B, right, which we talked about last week, but we didn't know how they were going to do. We thought they were going to do round robin, kind of like the Worlds.
No, they didn't.
They kind of just seeded them,
Yeah.
which is a little bit tough. So each team was all playing each other in best of threes. And yesterday, so this was Wednesday the 28th, right?
Yeah, they messed up and did this all like on
In one day,
day.
it was too much. Like I watched the
Yeah.
first couple of matchups, and then I was like, I can't watch this all day. I have to do things.
Right. Leading up to BlizzCon, every day has like 8 hours of Hearthstone. And then yesterday, they did this. They started at our time. It was like 3:30 Central. And it must have gone. I fell asleep watching the first winners game. So every single team played their first group matches. And we're going to spoil these. So unfortunately, if you guys haven't seen them, that's just going to be.
We should also TLDR them too, because like it's so many games.
It is a lot of games, right? So Cloud9 played GIA. GIA was the Taiwanese team that we don't know a whole lot about. And they ended up winning 2-0.
Yeah.
Also in Group A, we
Sloppy.
had,
Sloppy.
Weak. Yeah.
it was a little sloppy games, but they came out okay. Match 2 of Group A was Team Dignitas from Europe against Team YL from
I
China.
mean, Bob.
Bob.
It used to be Bob.
Bob? They beat Team YL 2-1 and moved on to the winners match. So the winners match of Group A became Cloud9 versus Dignitas, which Cloud9 took 2-1 and advanced to the semifinals. So top
That means
4
they're
already.
done. Cloud9's done at this point.
If we wanted to watch more Cloud9 guys, we should have hoped for them to lose
So it's a good thing we bought our whistles
for the semifinals.
Yeah, and we're gonna get our Cloud9 t-shirts.
Yeah, well, the semifinals and the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're only going to watch on Sunday, really, because that's when
Right.
Cloud9
Yeah.
plays. So that was interesting. The series versus Cloud9 and Dignitas was is definitely a good one to watch. I think Dig takes the first game, but then Cloud9 kind of just hits their stride and kind of gets the. I think they tried something a little wonky the first game and it didn't quite work, so they went back to their tried and true strategy and ended up winning.
Okay.
So then there's going to be an elimination match between YL and GIA, who will then play Dignitas, who will then advance to the semifinal. Group B, more of the group of death, rather. We have Team DK from Korea versus Tempo Storm. We talked a little bit about Tempo Storm's inner turmoil. However, this series was 2-1 in favor of DK. Tempo Storm almost took this series.
They almost did, yeah.
Well, if only they had.
They were good games.
If
I think
only
the
they
games were
hadn't
great.
been dealing with what they're apparently dealing with, they probably could have won it.
Might
Yeah.
have.
I feel like the string of suddenly losing together as a team plus this potential turmoil has led to them not playing well. But I got to say, they got stomped the first game. The next game they won in convincing fashion. And they looked a lot more like Zuna got aggressive on someone like Zeratul and just like back in their sort of comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
The third game, it was like somebody got caught out and then it just turned into this thing like crap, and they lost. So Team DK moved on. And then we have Navi versus Braveheart, who is the substitute Chinese team, who also has substitutes from the fourth place Chinese team on their team. Anyway, Navi took this 2-0. It was not a contest.
It was the team of like, just get a team together. We need them.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
patchwork Chinese team.
Kind of. But I got to say, the series, if you want to watch, probably the best series that happened in this entire thing was Team DK versus Navi for the winners match. And Navi took it 2-1 and advanced to the semifinals. So we have Navi, Cloud9, who were two of the people that we predicted to get out.
That, yeah.
There's some pretty funny interviews with Cloud9 and who were they playing in the first match?
YL, the Chinese team.
YL just being like, yeah, they're real hard. We're scared.
Yeah.
Cloud9's like, yeah, we're Cloud9.
You can definitely say
care.
with the production,
We're gonna beat them.
they fed them quite a few lines that were like, oh, talk a little smack. They always do this
Yeah,
to make
sure.
it interesting. But I like that Cloud9 took it and they're like, well, they had fun with it. They're like, yeah, you should be worried. And they cut to YL and they're like, yeah, we're real worried. We're kind of scared.
If we beat them, it'd be great, but if we don't think we will.
I got to highlight Game 3 of DK versus Navi. These are two of the strongest teams in the world, obviously, because they're here, but honestly, that people thought in this bracket. Game 3 looked hopeless for Navi, and then somehow they won it.
Man.
We would have quit, basically, in this game.
And DK's kind of the mysterious team, right? Like, everyone knows they're good, but there isn't a lot of...
There isn't a lot, and the thing is, they beat MVP Black, who, before this, people
Right.
thought was the best team from Korea.
Right.
So
There isn't a lot of footage of them playing, like, to watch. There isn't... They're just this big mystery, but everyone knows they're good, but how
Right.
good is the question?
Exactly. So likely that we see Tempo Storm beat Braveheart in the elimination game and then the Tempo Storm DK rematch. But right now it's looking like, based on who won the winners games or who were in the winners games, I feel like those are the top four.
Yep.
With
I
Dig, with
agree.
Navi, and DK.
Yeah.
I think that's who we'll see.
That's probably who we'll end up seeing. But the train
Next.
whistles are happening, boys.
Yeah.
Toot, toot. We bought them.
Here's some people around BlizzCon with train whistles.
That's
It's
us.
probably us.
It's probably
Do you
us
think
old guys.
we're going to turn it into a thing?
Yeah, like
I hope so.
those guys with train whistles. Like
I
those
think
old
every
guys
kill in Overwatch we get, we should just look at the guy next to us and like toot in his face
Yeah.
is what we should do.
Toot in his face. Nice.
So we have a link over to the brackets at lamepodcast.com. You can check those out as well. And then one final note I wanted to mention regarding Blizzard this week. You probably saw this over on Polygon and other news sites, but Activision Blizzard actually hired a former ESPN and NFL network head to head up a separate eSports division. This guy's name is Steve Bornstein, and it sounds like did a lot of work getting those networks up and going. So
Oh, okay.
from
They
what
have
I
an
gather,
esports television network?
like division separate from Activision Publishing, separate from Blizzard Entertainment. I think they're starting their own esports organization. Will still be under the same probably publicly
Like an
traded
MLG
company.
kind of thing?
So that's
like
what
all
I've been
these
relating
different
it to.
games, but it's all...
Like a service,
Yeah.
like ESPN basically for
Okay.
it. And I think you see these all the time. Probably the most successful are ESL and MLG that just have like they're kind of independently run. They're probably VC funded, right? They probably get a lot of money to
Yeah.
start these things.
Joe Miller.
But this is a company I think that can really, they want to really make this, and it could be to the point where this will never happen. But like a company like Riot or somebody else with a game would go to them and say, hey, we want to broadcast on your network. Can you feature our game? And this is one step towards getting
Or Super Mega, right? I guess.
right.
Yeah.
I think this is one step towards doing a solid thing in place that's not just their games. I'm sure their games will have preferential treatment in this service. But either a year ago or something, they what do you want to call it? Trademarked the name just Compete was the name of it. and nobody knows what it's for. Nothing came up with it. So
Weird.
kind of like they own Battle.net, right? They
Yeah.
had their own system for like online chat and that sort of thing. So a really interesting article, and it's funny to see where this is going to go. I don't know that we're going to hear much till next year, though, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the kind of thing that's going to take months and months to gestate.
Right. But definitely exciting, guys. It's like I feel like this is the year that it's not a fad. Like this stuff is
eSports.
well, yeah, it's been here for a while, right? And we've only been watching for a couple of years, but I feel like it's hitting a fever pitch. Not just because we're doing the show.
I mean,
and we're involved.
BBC 3, ESPN is airing hero stuff too. Like it's
It's just it seems like it's here. So yeah, a lot of fun there. Again, if you missed any of these stories and you wanted to see more about the blog post, you can head over to thelanepodcast.com. Check the show notes, and we'll have all the links in there for you. Keep it all nice and organized. With that, I think we're going to move on in this show. We're going to talk a little character select.
Character select.
Welcome, everyone, to the Character Select, where every single week we try to pick a character from typically one of our respective games and we can talk a little bit about.
Correct. Yeah.
So this week we decided if you were going on a schedule, you would think, Jake, what are you talking about? It's supposed to be a Heroes person this week.
Yeah.
I'm specially saving one for next week because it's going to be
right.
BlizzCon episode,
Sure.
right? So we'll do that. So we're going to talk a little Orianna from League of Legends.
Because there's so many League of Legends characters, so
We got to get through them all at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
guys. And there are some that we may even go back to who like kits change.
they change them. Like
I
all
think
these,
we did new
all these
Raucus when it came
marksmen.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Orianna, the Lady of Clockwork, one of the strongest mid laners, I would say, in the game. And
One of the most balanced. Maybe not
I
strongest.
think she can be strong in the right hands.
They say she is like the epitome of character balance.
Right. Just like not too much damage,
Yeah.
not too much sustain. But also, I would say takes quite a bit of skill to maximize what she can do.
For sure. Yeah.
She's typically seen in the mid lane. You can try her support. I have, but I'm going to honestly not recommend it. You just become mana starved and you can't do anything.
No, don't do that.
The slow is like not worth
Yeah. Your
it.
stuff costs too much mana. That just
Right.
you're not adding anything.
And Orianna is essentially, what is her lore anyway? Is she literally a wind up like robot that was just
She was
created?
made by
Is it
someone.
an automaton or something? I don't know.
She's not
It
a
doesn't
bot?
matter because all the lore was wiped away, and
Right.
then
She's an Autobot.
she's not
She's
from
a Decepticon.
She's not from Shurima, and she's not from Bilgewater, so we have no idea.
I love that that's what we go with at this point.
That's all we got.
I thought you were going to say she's not from Shurima, so we're kind of interested.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her abilities. All of Orianna's abilities, she has this mechanical ball that she controls. So everything is relayed around that. Everything is relative to that and controlling where that goes and what it does. Her passive ability is called Clockwork Windup. Orianna's basic attacks deal increasing damage plus 15% AP bonus magic damage. Basically consecutive attacks. So this is just basic, right? Your basic
Yeah.
attacks do more damage
Oh, wow.
based on your AP.
So you want to be like an ADC where you're always kind of just poke, 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 poke.
The downside, of course, your range isn't huge, but you know.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to play her as an ADC. Don't do that.
Right. Consecutive attacks against the same target within 4 seconds apply a stack of Clockwork Winding. And then it basically increases the damage of your passive 20 and up to 40%. So literally, the more consecutive attacks, you're also doing bonus damage based on percentage of AP that you have overall. So this is pretty crazy overall. I think this is something that people overlook with Orianna. I think it's something you don't always see that, like, I don't know. I always try to get more autos in.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of doesn't work.
This is why this is why Power of Evil had that crazy Runeglaive Orianna game that did an insane amount of damage back when the Runeglaive worked the way it did at that point.
Right. Was it based on like an auto?
Yeah.
Would also.
Right, the auto proc stuff and yeah, it was nuts.
It's
so,
like, oh, it accidentally procced on my third auto, which was 40% stronger. And so, whoops, you're dead.
exactly.
It's
right.
kind of how it gets, right? Her Q ability is the first ability that you see, and I actually don't think any of us are going to be able to say what we max with her because we don't play her often
No, I don't
enough.
play her.
But her Q ability is called Command Attack. Essentially, this is what lets you control the ball. You command the ball to fly to a target location, and it remains there, deals magic damage to all enemies it passes through, which reduces 10% for each enemy hit, down to a minimum of 40% damage.
This is what you want to get first, though. Usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're just going to be sitting with a ball in your head, and you can't do a whole lot.
Well, you get your shield, which is the next ability.
I guess it depends on who you're laning against.
Yeah,
There are
but-
probably cases where you would argue the shield.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you're a mid laner, you need something that's going to get you, especially that first level, you need something to get last hits on things. And
Right.
Yeah, this is the one you want to start with.
And this will also, so it does remain, the ball does remain in place, but it'll come back to you if you go away from
Get too
leash
far.
range.
Kind of like Tibbers on Annie. You know, if you walk too far away from Tibbers, Tibbers appears next to you.
Exactly. So this is how you kind of move the ball around and stuff. And you can also psych people out. You can like throw it into a place and make them think something's going to happen, but just leave it there. And they're always worried about you and the ball, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting
It can be used for zoning. Yeah.
Her W ability is entitled Command Dissonance. Orianna commands the ball to emit an electric pulse around its current location, dealing magic damage to all enemies, and it leaves a little field on the ground, like an electric field, right?
Yeah.
This field for 3 seconds. Anybody, allies that walk through it, or yourself, you get bonus movement speed, and enemies are actually slowed that walk through it, and it decays over time. So not a permanent slow, it is kind of like a procedurally like decaying slow.
Yeah, and I think your allies can walk through it too.
Yeah, you get the speed boost, so
Yeah,
you can
for
use this
speed
to
boost.
like try to catch up to people. Or,
Right.
Right. So this is why if you've ever had an ally, and I've had plenty of them when I'm playing Orianna and not quite sure what I'm doing, they're going to chase and get a kill, but didn't get it because I didn't throw the ball and W to let them get more speed. Like
Right.
it's
It's
kind
a
of think of it
utility
like
kind of thing.
Ezreal's W, right? Where like sometimes you just want to throw it through an ally so they can speed up
Yeah.
to get there. So this ends up doing, it does 70% AP on top of the damage it does. So this actually does a crap ton of damage late game. It's something you definitely don't want to
This
like.
is where you see people's half their health disappears suddenly.
Right. Because they get hit with not only the Q damage when it moves through them, but also the W damage when you
Because it's like
dissonance.
QW.
And
Yeah.
now they're
Qual-
slowed and auto.
Right. Right. We also have her E ability, which is Command Protect. This is the shield we were mentioning earlier. The ball grants, there's a passive ability. The ball grants whoever it is attached to bonus armor and magic resist. The resistances go from 10 to 30 throughout the leveling up of the ability. The active is that you command the ball to fly to a target ally, champion, or yourself, and attach itself to the target. It deals magic damage to all enemies it passes through on the way there, and shields the target on the arrival for 133.3% of the damage for 4 seconds.
3 words, Jake. Ball delivery system.
Boo, 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 boo.
Yeah. This is what you throw on your Rengar, your Malphite, your Lee Sin, who's going to go in and engage on the enemy so that maybe you can get a great Wombo Shockwave, which is the ult, which we'll talk about next.
And what I love about this is it's the numbers scale exactly the same except for the percent AP scaling. The magic damage on it goes from 60 to 180 on the Q and the E because it does pass through, right?
Yeah.
So it still does the damage if you sent it through minions
Yep.
or whatever. But the scaling, of course, is better on the attack. They probably don't want it to be crazy for the same thing, but it's a click, right? It goes there instantly.
It's going to go. Let's go.
It also feels like it's faster, but maybe it's not. I don't have projectile speed here.
I have no idea.
Yeah. And her ultimate can be the best or the saddest ultimate in the
so
game.
sad when you miss this one.
It's worse. Command Shockwave, her R ability. Orianna commands the ball. I love that everything, by the way, on the wiki is the ball.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a whole page for the ball. Unleashes a shockwave, and after a 0.75 second delay, deals magic damage to all nearby enemies, and it flings them towards or possibly over the ball. Kind of like a little vortex. I've never been able to figure out. It doesn't
Yeah.
quite perfectly spiral.
It reminds me a lot of Joanna's
Her condemn
Condemn or whatever that thing
Yeah.
is.
pulls him in.
Yep.
This thing can also do a crap ton of damage, 70% AP scaling.
It's like, yeah.
But again, that 0.75 is longer than you think it is. So sometimes, like, it's pretty easy to spot when
takes-
it's about to happen.
Here's the thing: is it's so long that there's the possibility that if you're Orianna, you can die. So you can hit R, die, and then it doesn't go off.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if they kill you before that cast time happens, it
Right.
doesn't go off.
This is where I think you need to, the best way to try to use it is obviously you're waiting for a clump, but like kind of have your ball in position because there are times when you could cast your ball from yourself and it has to go a real long way. And then you also are mashing R and it just goes off and no one's there anymore because your ball took too long to get there, right?
It takes a lot of practice.
It's definitely a tricky ability, and I think that's why people always say stuff like, "Oh, 1K Elo Shockwave" or whatever. They make fun of like how much you actually hit somebody with it. So this is Orianna's kit. What do you guys think of Orianna? What's been your experience either playing with her or with her on your team in League of Legends?
She's a good utility mid laner. She helps she's very good for team fights and for doing gank as a jungler, doing ganks. Like she does some great ganks. She's great to gank, I guess, to gank her opponent because she has the speed up. She's got the shield. She can shield you. She can speed you up. She's just very team focused, much less like just focused on her doing damage than other mid laners.
But it is hard if she gets behind to catch back up.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like people think of her as a safe mid laner. You don't really have an escape aside from slowing somebody or shielding yourself.
But you're always so far away because all you're doing is throwing that ball
Moving
around.
the ball around, yeah. I think it's just a mana starve. Like, you really should be on a leash with your jungler to get that blue buff, because with a blue buff you can do a lot.
Blue buff is very important to get on your Ori.
But you'll see her like when she's playing the pros, like going and getting farm because she needs to get to those items faster.
Right.
And just like she can clear fairly quickly with all of her abilities there.
She's also one of those heroes or champions rather by the end of the game that she tends to have the farm record, right? I feel like with Froggen or XPK, whoever has the
Zhao.
Yeah, CS by 20 minutes. Oh, maybe it's the Karthus, but you know what I mean? It tends to a lot of times be Orianna because of her quick clear. She's definitely a good wave clear champion, and especially if your team or your enemy team is going for like a siege comp, pick Orianna. You'll just clear the wave super fast, and it won't be a problem. Of course, you could ever pull off the ball delivery system, give it a try. I don't know if it's the greatest strategy anymore, but it's definitely satisfying.
I know Malphite's seeing a lot of play right now.
Right. I think Malphite I like it better than Rengar because you can be useful and you also do this crazy AoE damage with him already.
You are one trick.
Rengar's like gotta get in, kill someone, and then hope he doesn't die.
He can. Rengar also has that. Well, this isn't Rengar champion select, but he's got good sustain because remember the 5 frosty stacks he heals, and then the 5 frosty stacks his Bola stuns people.
Right.
But we're not talking about Rengar.
No, this is the Orianna slash Rengar champion select. So with that, let's talk a little bit about her art before we get out of here. She has 6 total skins. I guess that's including her classic one, which is one of the many that got the update recently.
Let's look at them. You've got the laptop.
We can talk a little bit about her skins here. We got the classic Orianna.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Of course, we got Gothic.
That's
okay.
Just okay.
Appropriate for what she is.
A lot of these seem like in the same vein a little bit, right?
Yeah.
We got the Sown Chaos Orianna, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is cool. She looks
reminds
like
me
a little
of
doll.
that Korn album cover.
Yeah.
The fans got to pick back in like 2000 or something. I don't know.
I definitely remember. I
Can't
picked
even
that
think of
one.
the Korn
That was the one I
cover.
picked.
I can't even think of the name of the album. Anyway, we also have Bladecraft Orianna, which I feel like this reminds me of. I always think this is the default.
It's like master. It's like master skin Orianna.
Kind of,
right?
yeah. Not that
like
different.
Orianna, but more Orianna.
Right.
And then TPA Orianna.
TPA Orianna for the season 1 champions.
I like this one.
A lot of fun.
A good one.
And then the next one's the one I got. The Winter Wonder Orianna.
So
That's the
cute
best
with the
one.
little Poro ball.
Yeah.
I got that one too.
I don't even play her, but I picked that because it was there.
I don't have any Ori skins because I do not play mid lane.
I feel like anytime a cute skin comes out or it's legacy, I'm more likely to dump my money.
What about that super serious Orianna skin? Don't you want to buy that?
No.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
No one wants to
I want
buy
a skin with her with like a duck, like a rubber chicken as the ball or something. Every time you throw it's like...
Funny skins, not super serious.
She's an easy one to make a pool party one for, so I see that.
It would be a beach ball or something,
It would be a beach ball,
Yeah.
but she wouldn't be swimming. She's probably, because she couldn't go in the water because she's a robot.
That's sad.
They should just make cell phone Orianna. She just throws like apps at you. It's like an app. I don't know. Anyway.
Get on it, Tencent.
So that's going to do it for this week's Champion Select all on Orianna. Give her a try. She's definitely a little bit more complex, but somebody that I think is incredibly satisfying.
She's complex, but she's not Zed or,
Yeah.
I think it's just getting used to the control scheme of she's one of the only other people that have to worry about controlling a separate entity to really maximize what you can do with her kit. But that's it for Orianna, the Champion Select, or the Character Select, rather. If you want to find these and more Character Selects, you can find these over at our website, thelanepodcast.com. And with that, let's jump into the queue.
In the queue.
Welcome to In the Queue, where every single week we kind of do it's the potpourri. I said this last week.
Potpourri.
We're not going to say potpourri. Dang it, you said it again. Every week. It is the variety hour here on the show. Really, it's not also an hour, but it's just where we want to
stand up this week.
Yeah, where we Brad's like, I'm working on some jokes. It's the section where we just like to discuss kind of whatever we want to talk about, anything related to MOBAs, to esports, to that same vein, right?
Sometimes tips, like helping out our fellow fans out there.
Sometimes it's just a crazy story we had in a game.
Yeah.
And we're just like, I got to talk about this guy, this Shaco, right?
Always, it's always a Shaco.
Dude, did you see the monthly challenge thing?
With the Shaco that did it?
Yeah, well, I was a blitz and I had one, but the guy who got no deaths was Shaco.
Yeah.
Of course he would. He probably like made sure you died so he got away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much exactly what happened.
To be fair, his clone probably died a lot. So he kind of didn't. No, I'm just kidding. But we're going to continue our discussion. We've been talking all about the League of Legends World Championships, which is coming to a close actually this weekend. Halloween is the grand finals. Or I think they only
Halloween.
I think they only call it the finals in League of Legends. Every other sport says the grand finals.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the finals, yeah.
Just regular
the
finals.
world finals.
And so we've been talking about all of the matches from groups to quarterfinals, and now we're going to discuss the results of semifinals this past week, kind of our opinion and impression of them, what we thought, and then lead towards our discussion of the finals, right, which will happen on Halloween.
Heavy size.
Heavy size. So let's just start with the first series that we want to talk about. We're going to talk about these probably pretty holistically in general, but the first semifinal was between Origin from Europe and SK Telecom T1 from Korea. This did not go how we wanted it to.
No.
Well, it's how we expected.
How
how
we
we
expected,
expected.
not how we wanted.
But I think I feel like I said on this show, Origin would take a game. And they didn't.
They almost kind of thought they might.
So what's interesting about this, Origin didn't take a game. So that means SKT is completely undefeated this entire tournament.
Right. Which, correct me if I'm wrong.
It might be the year, it might be the whole split. I don't think that's what they lost.
No,
I think they dropped one
No, they dropped a couple during the regular season.
No, but I thought it was like in summer they dropped one, but in spring they dropped like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But it's been a crazy tear
Right.
of games regardless. This is kind of nuts. I think this is pretty expected still. It's still the strong favorite. We had, it's funny thinking back to EDG LGD up there with SKT, but now it's just SKT alone at the top, and they've been the constant performers. However, I would say that there were so many small victories for Europe and let's just say Western audiences in general. Like Twitch chat was erupting when Origin got a tier 2 tower in game 1. That hasn't happened to SKT yet.
Yeah. They honestly did do better than anybody else this tournament so far.
Well, you would hope so. They were one of the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Like they
Right.
better come and at least deliver.
You want it to be competitive this time of year, and we got exactly what we wanted, right? Which was regional games, which was actually like seeing different regions play against each other. It was
2 different regions played.
right. We only had Europe and Korea for both games, of course, but that game 1, man, was definitely hard to take, especially with. I feel like for the longest time, Origin was ahead, and they looked solidly ahead, and then just like kept making these little mini mistakes where like everybody disengaged, but Peke ended up on this side of the wall, or Soaz ended up on the wrong side of a wall and got picked and died, and then they got SKT gets Baron for free. You know, it was a tough fought game, but just something about it was like. Also, the junglers in this game were Bengi was on Jarvan, and Amazing was on Evelynn. And I didn't see. Oh, so picks and bans. We had
Gragas
Elise and
Gragas
Rek'Sai.
is gone, and I think honestly, to me, that is the reason that because Origin loved Gragas, Amazing
Yes.
loves Gragas.
We said that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think not having Gragas there, I think that's why they didn't win a single game.
Well, we should also mention that Elise and Rek'Sai were also banned out. So
Who else
the
is
other
there?
2 top?
Yeah.
It was like, well, who's left? There's these guys, and then there's Lee Sin. But there's a very
Vi.
different style of jungler. If we see a Vi, I'll crap my pants. Right? I don't think we've seen one yet. I don't think,
Nah.
unless somebody pulled it out in a random game. But so, and then the other 2 games just didn't end up nearly as close, and it was just generally kind of a drag, I guess. It was the 3rd game felt like sad. I don't know. Like it just got to a point. They also, I think, ended up. Did they sub in Faker for the last game? No,
Yes,
they played.
yeah.
Oh,
They
really?
did.
They have stats here as. Oh no, they did. Okay, yeah, and Faker played his Rise.
So they
perfectly.
by game 2 they were like, yeah, this is easy. Let's just throw Faker in.
Right.
And I think all the casters for that Rise game basically say nobody has a counter to this Rise.
No.
Like no one knows what to do against this Rise.
Which is weird. It's a champion that takes a long time to get going, but we've always called him the insurance policy.
And
that
it's- yeah.
by a certain point, he just, if you play him correctly and position correctly, you're just going to blow people up.
Not just that, but it's being played on the greatest League of Legends player ever.
Right.
So, and that's why, like, there's a counter to Rise. There's not a counter to Faker's Rise.
Right. And even I mentioned, like, he has no escape aside from his rune prison and then flashing. But there's a Faker we're talking about. Positioning is not really potentially going to be an issue.
He will always be in the right position.
So it's just it's just kind of interesting. And then they pair that with somebody like Tristana. Bang's been playing quite a bit of that. By the time we get to late game, if you guys let the game go past 30 minutes, hell, we might not even need that. We're just gonna kill you a bunch before we get there. But this third game just
If
looked
only
like,
Origin was doing our monthly MOBA challenge.
I know, right? But this third game, you had to feel for the team, for Origin, let's talk about most improved team or one of those awards like challenger to third, fourth place at Worlds.
In 6 months.
In 6 months
Yeah.
is like nuts.
Okay.
How quickly this team came together, how much Niels grew. We barely knew anything about Niels coming into the split. I remember picking him up on the fantasy and then just saw the points coming in, and I'm like, who is this guy?
So, I think it was the series of videos where they talked about different people.
Yeah, I still only watched that first
Yeah,
one.
what was it called? Legends Rising?
Yes.
Maybe I should put those on my YouTube Red account for the plane.
There you go.
Oh, you got a
Offline.
YouTube Red account.
Well, you get a free month,
Oh,
Yeah, for a month.
yeah.
so it's worth it.
It's worth it for the free month.
Because I'm going to download all
what
the
do you- what do you-
Overwatch
What do you
videos.
even? You get to download stuff to watch later.
On your mobile, you can offline YouTube videos.
Okay. Well,
Anyway.
yeah, that would be good. That
So
would be
anyway,
good.
those
Yeah.
Legends Rising.
Okay,
or
yeah,
whatever it was
but
called.
I think it was either one of those or it was another video somewhere they talked about his formation, how Origin was formed, and the order of people that came into the team. And he said that the ADC role was last, and he was torn between picking an established, already known ADC, and then going out on a limb and picking Niels, someone who had a lot of potential, but was an unproven like character person.
Okay.
You know, I think that was a good decision.
Sure.
He's by and far top 2 ADC in the West.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, who's above him?
Reckless,
Kind
maybe?
of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Technically, yes.
I think
Yeah.
Reckless.
They were first place in this.
Yes, but I don't know. I would always put Reckless in a like more passive position. I think there's been times when Reckless and Niels have dueled each other and both died. So
Yeah.
they're probably pretty even. But if you're going aggression and just knowing his limits, I'd take Niels any day. I don't know why. I just would. And then the post game interview was pretty sad. Of course, this means that SKT moves on to the final. But it was just like I think Shox asked Peke a question, and he was like pretty emotional, not crying, but definitely like kind of tearing up or choking up a little bit. And I remember his answer was something like, "Yeah, I'm not going to answer that. I just want to say what I want to say. So thanks for supporting us and blah blah blah." But that kind of thing. Like,
Well, it's probably his last game on stage.
right, an incredible ride. Then you got to think of like, well, I guess Soaz and Mithy, also veterans. Amazing's probably still got some time, but what can you do with this team? What do you need moving forward? Like,
I think you need to replace Peke.
but I think
It's
even
big shoes to fill.
you could get a person who's more aggressive than Peke, because Peke tends to play the stereotype is he plays safe.
He's almost a support mid. You know, Oriana is one of his number one champions.
He played a lot of Anivia, right?
Yeah.
And actually got a
Right.
lot of that done against Flash Wolf. So I don't know. Maybe you need somebody who can play the LeBlancs, who can play the Zeds really well, and can actually assassinate people. That way you can do that triple threat thing that Fnatic tends to try to do between Fabib and Reckless and Humi.
I hear Pobelter needs a job.
There you go.
Has anyone ever gone from NA to EU? I don't think
And
so. but-
maybe now that Niels has grown so much and kind of knows where he fits in the team, maybe you can also bring in an up-and-comer mid laner too and figure out what they can do. Maybe that's an option. So we got to say, awesome season from Origin. It was awesome watching these guys all year. They were kind of the underdog that you didn't really know, even though they had some established players. The new brand was like fresh to see, and just to see the instant success was, I don't know, it was just really fun to watch.
It was
Exhilarating.
nice to have Peke there.
Yeah.
It was like, all right.
You didn't realize how much
Yeah.
you miss some of these veteran players playing. And then I was even happy for someone like Amazing, whose time at TSM wasn't the greatest, and it kind of left in a little bit of like uncertainty and not turmoil, but just, I don't know, it seemed like they didn't click
What's
together.
he going to do? Yeah.
Seemed great to see him back on it. So you can't say enough about how well they did this season, but You know,
can't be
unfortunately-
disappointed with the way
Oh,
that it
no,
ended
yeah,
up.
not at all.
Like, unfortunately, guys, with competitive things, not every team can win. In fact, everyone's going to be sad except one team at the end of this thing.
True,
So
yeah.
that's just the fact you got to take on. So SKT moves on to the final. And the other semifinal, we had Fnatic versus Coup Tigers, which many analysts, aside from dumb Monty, and
Monty, that dude bothers the crap out of me.
and many people even picked Fnatic to win, and actually to win convincingly. People were considering them how they took over Edward Gaming quickly. They had to stumble in group stage week 1.
Yeah.
But week 2, they kind of came back to what they were doing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, guys, this was also a 3-0 victory.
That week 1 team came back.
Basically,
Yeah, 3-0 victory for Coup Tigers. So Coup Tigers actually moves on.
Hooney just was on tilt this entire all 3 games. Like
He started doing stuff where if Hooney was on my team, I would be like, "What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?"
Well, although if you look at game 1, like just at the graph, there's no reason Fnatic lost this game. Absolutely none. This is the definition of a throw.
That is
Yeah.
a huge
Sure.
Baron. That is a huge Baron differential. Like before and after Baron. Look at that. That's from
Right.
a 7K gold lead all to only a 2K.
Right.
Over 5,000 gold just because of a Baron.
But this is what Coup has been doing. We've seen Coup so many times, even in their series versus KT. They just get down like 5,000 gold and then find a way. They're like, oh, we'll just win this team fight right here, and then
Yeah.
we'll win. It's so weird, and it's almost, I hate watching it in ways. Like, you always want to see the comebacks, but I just expected more, and I think this game just set Hooney off. And so he was 5-5-12 on Hecarim, which wasn't bad, honestly. Then he went with, he got outclassed game 2 by Smebs Fiora, who was 3-1-13. Hooney was 4-5-1 Riven.
when anyone who's listened to the podcast for long enough know how much we hate
We hate
Fiora.
Fiora
Already.
Even before the reworks.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's like, "Oh, the reworks. She's finally someone that isn't so bad." No, she still sucks. Man. She's still the worst.
And then game 3, you could tell he was just on tilt. He went with Riven. I got to say, in general, the game 3 draft from Fnatic, they looked confused.
Right. I think he wanted to prove that he was a good Riven player. That's what that came down to.
They, like the fact that they picked Orianna and Sivir, said already that they were like, look, we're scared. We're scared. We need to be safe. But the way they picked them was scary, right? So they banned all these champions out,
I wonder
whatever,
if they were almost too cocky.
going into it.
Yeah, even going into game 2, like they're like, "Yeah, you got one off us, but we're Fnatic."
My impression was going into the series, the way they looked, and maybe it was a combination of fatigue. To get this far, you got to be resilient, to play this many games. But also, I feel like maybe the hype finally got to them. Maybe the nerves finally got to them. Everybody's saying, you're at home. You're going to win. You're the team. You're the Western chance, the hope, right? I feel like eventually that's going to get to you as stone-faced as they were in interviews and focused as they were. I think it's just a grind. But Hooney's game was 0-8-5 against Smebs 9-1-7 Hecarim that game. It was just like I think he was so on tilt. They kept trying to make things, especially that last game. They kept diving, trying to just make things happen that were not ever going to be there. They were too far behind.
That was the overall, all 3 games. They kept losing the same way in all these fights. They kept grouping up and letting them AoE damage them down. And I was just like, stop doing that. And then when they even would get the pick, they decide to chase and get all jumped on again. It's like, oh, you got the kill, back off. Like,
Take the win and go with it.
yeah,
Right.
but they never wanted to back down. So
I just felt like the draft in this one killed them, especially they didn't reset ever. Even after both losses, it seemed like they didn't take enough time to like mentally put it away and just focus on what they do well, because they prioritized once again the Rek'Sai for Reignover first, which was fine, but it was okay. When Lulu was available, and Lulu seems to be the difference maker in lots of these team fights going into this. So they gave up that, and then the next picks were like a slow picked Orianna and Thresh,
Thresh?
Like Thresh is good, but like they just didn't seem like it was like the last second. They didn't seem
It was
confident
like,
when they picked it. Like,
I
oh
don't
crap, pick
know.
Thresh.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just overall, of course, we're coming at this from a Western perspective, right? These were the teams that we wanted to move on, but it was just kind of disappointing. But you also can't take away things from SKT and Coup. There's a reason they're there.
I got so
They're
sad,
also there.
man. I was in a bad place.
I was emotionally upset. I think after Fnatic lost, because it just felt like hopeless still.
Both me and you, I think, were tweeting from the the
Lane.
Lane podcast account. And at one point, I just wrote, "All right, I had to turn off." I was like, "All right, I've turned this off. This is what happened. Where's the fanatic that we've grown to love over the past year?"
And it's not anger like at them. It's like frustration because we're not controlling it, right? We're watching our sports team. But it just feels like we just wanted it so bad this year to still be competitive. I was happy just Fnatic getting to the final and watching a great interregional final.
I don't really care about winning the whole thing. The only thing that I really want is I want the NA and the EU to be seen as competitive regions.
And I think EU was this time.
And I think I hope that having two EU teams be in the Final Four was enough for people to finally say that it isn't just about the East anymore, except for Monty, because dying of fire at Monty.
But that guy, there's been an interesting thing going on with the first day of Heroes group stages. People were mad that the casters were so biased towards NA and EU. It seemed like they'd get excited about an EU or NA play, but not when the Koreans
they're
or
NA
Chinese.
and EU casters.
Exactly. That's what I posted back on the Reddit. I was like, well, guys, you have to take into account, why do you think in League of Legends so many people sort of dislike Monty, but he has so much information about Korea? Because he's casting over there, because he's doing stuff over there. Yeah. That's the region he associates with, because he does. Mm-hmm. An American guy, but he's over there. I don't know what to tell you. We need more Korean casters into the hero scene to get that sort of balance. But anyway, so it sets up a final with SKT Telecom T1. Wait, SK Telecom T1.
Yeah.
And KU Tigers, or your ad here, Tigers.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's buying that?
Which should be interesting. It is the first all-Korean final, especially after the Korean exodus last year, going to take more money in China.
That
and
needs that needs explaining. You can't just say that and then not explain it.
What the All Korea final?
the KU thing?
Your ad here.
Oh,
Tigers.
well, go ahead and explain it. Yeah.
Oh, so the funny thing is that they were the GE Tigers, right? And then KU TV became their main sponsor, and they switched to the KU Tigers. But KU TV has ended their sponsorship of the Tigers. So really, they're just the Tigers, and they're in the finals without a sponsor.
Your team, Michigan home team, the Tigers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the Tigers.
So, I mean, if you want to, so they're really the Lane Podcast Tigers.
They're the Lane Podcast Tigers.
Right.
So
we should be rooting for them.
Because they're now the Lane Podcast Tigers, that is who I am rooting for to win this weekend.
Okay. How about you, Brad?
Oh, I just kind of know that SKT is going to win, so I'm just there for the good times.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting for anyone just because I kind of know what this outcome's going to be.
Donuts.
Yeah, I know what the outcome's going to be, and if it's not what I think, wow, that's cool. Wow.
You gotta love the underdog story, though.
No, for sure.
Right?
I love Faker, so I'm fine with just watching Faker keep destroying people, picking one champion. I want SKT Rise. That's what I'm waiting for.
You and Faker fangirls on Twitter.
Right.
Have you seen the amount of women that I think for the Faker Legends Rising, they did my team sent me to China just for some FaceTime with fans there, and it's just he's mobbed at the airport by all
and he
these
just
women.
wants to go play League of Legends.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to. So I think it's going to be an interesting series. However, I want it 5 games. I don't care who wins, honestly. But wouldn't it be interesting if KU Tigers won and we get the KU Tiger skins, but KU isn't their sponsor?
Yeah, it's just be Tiger skins, and they should all be Tigers.
They're just people in tiger pajamas.
Is KU the TV? Are they oh my god, maybe we should pick these guys back up?
Maybe I don't know.
But I just want 5 games in general because so far in any of these series we've had 3 1s twice. Other than that, it's been 3 0s. But some teams are better than the others. But it's just it seems like whoever's losing at this point in the season is just tilting, and it's there's no competitive series. I thought last year's semifinal had at least 1-3-2, but I can't remember.
But what did you say about the Tigers? I'm gonna stop calling them KU Tigers.
Okay.
What did you say about the Tigers earlier? They play best when they're behind and they need to pull off some crazy shit, right?
Right.
Boom. SKT always in the lead, always gonna win. Nope, you've got it's a perfect matchup.
Until SKT wins 3-0.
We'll see.
I don't think. I just want 5 games. Last year's 3-1 was okay, but even the game that Starhorn Royal Club got off of Samsung White, it felt like Samsung was like letting off the gas a little bit.
Well, and Samsung White was evil, so it wasn't that much fun to watch. Like the SKT isn't evil.
So let's say we're going to talk about this again on Tuesday, so you guys will hear our reactions after the game. But let's just predict here. Let's say SKT wins. Earlier in this season, going into Worlds, what's his name? Darshan, Zion Spartan. I can't remember his name. Said that anybody can win it. We could even win it. There's no Samsung White this year. Samsung White was this crazy out of nowhere team, right? That seemed to be just all the perfect pieces together. Yeah. Whether or not they were predicted to be in the beginning, but do you guys think? True. Do you think SKT is that team this year?
Yes,
it just happens to be like they're on fire.
Yeah,
and they're together.
And I think Faker wants it. Like I think he maybe
losing last year wasn't great. I think
he didn't even go last year.
He didn't go last year. I think if he could also be like, well, now I won this, so now I'm done.
No, he won't be done.
What's funny though is wasn't Bengi was also on the team that won 2 years ago. Yeah. So Faker will not be the lone 2-time winner, but I gotta say it's probably gonna be really hard to see 2-time winners ever.
I don't want to see a 2-time winner. I want to see Ku take it.
All right.
They might have to stop the skins thing. They just give you a color tint. It's actually just a chroma pack.
A chroma pack for the original.
For your original one.
Yeah. Like, well, they didn't pay for this team, so we're just giving them chroma packs instead of a full out skin.
Yeah.
So this should be a lot of fun. Halloween morning, we're all gonna get together over at Stark's place. We're gonna get some coffee and donuts because it's super early in the morning.
Super early, and we got a great donut place over by me, Dinkles.
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. on Saturday Central Time, so we'll be at the donut place at 6:15 or so. Yep. If you want to come by and get a donut. I will say my one thought that I dislike about the World so far, just in general, that is frustrating as a viewer, and it's probably partially because I'm also a player, Tahm Kench. There's so many champions that can just save somebody for free, and Tahm Kench is the ideal, Kalista is an ultimate, so I'm fine with that. The cooldown's long enough, whatever. Tahm Kench can just eat an ally every 10 to 12 seconds or whatever, and he's just like, no damage.
Well, that's actually a common frustration that people have been voicing is the past several champions that have come out have been all about making sure people don't die. You've got that whole Tahm Kench mechanic of the eating. You've got Kindred's ult, which is the making people,
the radius where people can't take fatal damage.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got Echo's back in time, heal, whatever.
Bards,
same
thing as Kindred.
Right. Well, it's like a giant Zonius.
Yeah.
But so the past few chances, that seems to be where Riot's kind of putting things right now, is making sure people don't die and prolonging fights and doing big saves and things.
Sure.
That's exciting, I think, from Riot's standpoint, and that's where the skill sets are going.
But to me, as a viewer, whether it's my team I'm rooting for or not, the fact that I can get the perfect engagement on a person who was just caught out, suddenly the stupid catfish can show up and won't flash away or walk away, and we cannot kill them. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's super frustrating. I guess it's the same in Heroes. If someone has Ice Block, which is everybody has a Zonia's if you want to pick that talent, and for a second you probably blew all your abilities, but you're stuck in place, right? It's not the same. I think it's a frustrating mechanic. And I voice I want to buy Tahm Kench to see how easy it is to pull off. And
it's not.
Right, there's many times where you probably grab them and you're just in the crap anyway, so you're probably going to die and then they will die.
What's really good is the eat and flash combo. So you can eat someone and then flash away and then throw them far away. Right. And then it's because you've got the iron skin mechanic. You get more.
Walk away. Yeah.
Right. I think it's, again, carrying over as I'm a player, so I know how that probably feels, that it's frustrating to watch. But people might like it, but it's like a contested pick. It's almost coming down to the point now where it's literally Gangplank, Mordekaiser, Tahm Kench is the third person you just have to get rid of. Yeah. Right. So anyway, that's my general thought. Any general thoughts you guys have on how Worlds has gone so far, or just looking forward to the final?
No, that's about it.
But this has been a world of disappointment for me. The fact that all the NA teams.
Well, week one was real cool for Western audiences.
Yeah, it felt nice.
They all choked,
and then everyone choked, and then this week the rest of our hopes choked.
This one was hard.
This is a hard week for me.
But I think we can't be mad about how it's been. I think this is the most hyper-focused we've been on Worlds since we even started covering these, and this is now our third Worlds all together, kind of playing these games and watching this stuff. This one's been exciting. This has been a lot of fun. So it's a bummer that it's almost over. But we got this, then we got the Heroes World Championship. And then,
we'll report on that too.
And then preseason.
Yep, we got our
months.
Yeah. Ooh, preseason goes on a long time.
It does. They don't start again until the end of January. So.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our show this week, but let's get out of here. Brad, where can people find out more about what you're up to when you're not recording this fine show?
So you can follow me on Twitter. It's @brad. My blog is digitalhitchhiker.com.
And how about you, Mr. Dr. Starkweather?
You can find me on Twitter, on in-game, anywhere that there's a thing where you put a username in. I'm probably Dr. Starkweather, Dr. Starkweather. Yeah. Also, in Adventure Time Battle Party, you can find me as Dr. Bradley Banjo.
Great. Guys, go friend these guys up here. And, of course, if you would like to follow me on Twitter, my screen name is @JacobWilliams. And, of course, Fizzband for most of the in-game stuff. But check out our show notes. It's got all of our usernames for the various games that we like to play all the time in there. Of course, if you want to keep up with the Lane Podcast and any of the guys, we're all tweeting from @the-Lane Podcast over on Twitter. So sometimes it might seem pretty random, but we have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, you can follow our individual Twitter accounts too.
Yeah.
They're in the show notes.
And of course, Facebook.com/The Lane Podcast for more social goodness out of the Lane. And if you're on Google+, search The Lane Podcast. We're over there as well. You want to send any emails, screenshots, ideas, thoughts, anything you have you want us to read on the show, let us know at thelanepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to answer any of your questions, too. We've been getting some Twitter questions recently. Maybe we'll start bringing those on the show, too. Those are pretty fun.
Twitter questions, yeah.
Discuss those. If you have a more long-form thing, of course, thelanepodcast@gmail.com is the place to send it. And, of course, thelanepodcast.com, the main hub for the show, features our shows, any show notes, any links to things that you hear here on the show. And, of course, our Character Select segments are posted up there as well. And I've started posting funny pictures with the episodes, so why not?
Nice.
Why not go check them out? You got to make sure you see those. And, of course, we want to mention iTunes. If you guys are liking the show, please go leave us a review over on iTunes. We do have a lot of fun with those. And, of course, they do help promote the show. They help get it out there to more ears, more people like you that like listening to all this MOBA discussion. No rude comments from people.
MOBAs.
Yeah.
MOBAs.
And, of course, over on Stitcher. And I think
Google
whenever
Play
it comes
soon.
out.
Oh, there's the new Google thing, right?
We'll be over on the new Google thing whenever they launch their service.
And subscribe to our other shows, too, while you're over there.
While you're over there, yeah.
We are a member of the Loose Keys Radio Network.
Yes.
It's up and coming.
Up and coming, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but there's plenty of other shows that we host over there, and you can definitely find that online as well. We'll have more to talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Lane Podcast. This is episode 67. A reminder, if you're this far into the show and you're still listening, episode 68 will come out on the 4th of November. That's a Wednesday. It's going to be a couple days early for you guys before we head off to BlizzCon. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining us.
Take care.
see you.
The Lane Podcast.